Hey y'all, it's Crystal. Thanks so much for coming by today. It's that time of the week. You know what time it is. Time for the weekly reading update for me. So we're going to chat about what I finished and started and the process. The huge. So had a pretty good week. I've just been devouring audiobooks this month. I don't know. I've just been in the mood for some audiobooks, and so got several more to talk about for this week. And yes, we'll just hop right in. First of all, let me show you my shirt. Look at this cool shirt. Bookworm with worms in it. Yeah. So this was put together by Lydia over at Typical Books. I love Lydia's channel. I love to hear her talk, basically, about anything. She has such a soothing voice. And I love to hear her talk about books. And she put this out, I know it's been probably a couple months ago now, and I'm just getting around to showing it off. I definitely want to show that off, and I'll link, of course, Lydia below. You're already watching her, I'm sure, but just in case, go check her out because she has a wonderful channel. All right, so let's dig into, what I finished last week. First off, well, let's see. Let's start. Well, shall we start? I guess I'll just start in the order in which I've got them on my list. So first up is Gone to See the Riverman by Kristopher Triana. This, of course, was the book club pick for Kelsey's Midnight Book Society. And so a bunch of us have been reading it this month. And I wanted to read it. I was interested. I kind of wanted to see what all the brouhaha was about. The curiosity got the best of me on this one. And so I said, let me check this out. And it was fine. It was okay for me. I know people love this book, and I'm glad for you. I know there are parts that I did really enjoy about this story, and there are parts that I just did not. And so let's just talk about it now. What I really liked, I did really like. I like the sort of general story. We've got this lady named Lori who has. She's got some things going on, but she has kind of hooked up with this dude that's in prison because he's a serial killer. There's those people out there that get obsessed with that kind of stuff. Anyway, I don't understand that, but whatever. But so she's been writing letters with this dude named Edmund, who's I feel like brutally, violently murdered women in a very brutal way. We'll just say brutal one more time. And but Lori has I feel this connection. Okay, so the story does kind of go back and forth in time. We get some time with Lori growing up because she has a sister and a brother, and of course her mom and dad, kind of what her family life was like growing up, and then a present day story. So what Edmund does for her is Edmund sees a little twinkle in Lori's eye, and he's like, you know what, if you really love me, you'll do this little favor for me, and you'll go to my old shack that is down by this river and retrieve something for me. And once you retrieve that thing, you got to take it upriver to see the Riverman. And so Lori basically is just like, yes, I will do that for you. And so that's the gist of the story. Now, she thinks it's a really wonderful idea to take along her disabled sister. We learned that her sister has become disabled through an accident, which we learned about in the past. She has basically what seems like sort of traumatic brain injury. She definitely has an intellectual type of disability, but also a physical disability. And so she's dragging her sister Abby, traipsing through the woods. I don't know why, but anyway, it's a thing. Now, we learn things about Lori along the way that, she's not good people, essentially. But anyway, what I like that sort of general story of going on this kind of a little mini quest, that was kind of interesting. I did enjoy when they actually got to the Riverman, and I like that whole, it's very visceral, and I liked all that. Because I'm me, I can't fully enjoy this story. The use of Abby as a part of this story, I don't know. Okay, so like I said, Abby is a disabled character, and one thing, look, I don't know, possible spoilers here. Just skip forward if you don't want to hear this me rant about the same old shit that I have with disabled characters used in books. Okay, whatever. So, throughout the whole story, Laurie is bitching and moaning because Abby is such a burden on her. She's the only one left to take care of her, and she has ruined her life. And she, now we know that Laurie's not a good person. Okay, fine. But it's just like the same old story of the authors, using language, and again, it's just this use of a disabled character to prove this other character is not a good person, right? We see that I talked about Stephen King doing that. He has a character that uses the N-word throughout the story, so we know that he's a bad guy. Okay, all right, you're smart. Okay, so I kind of feel that with this story too. That the way that Abby was used through this story was just as a sort of I don't know, plot device or characterization to make Laurie look like a bad person. I don't know. And I just don't like it. You know what I mean? I just don't like it, personally. The R word was used once in here, but more than that, the word, I don't even want to say it, but the word mongoloid was used in this story, and I'm pretty sure I audibly gasped when I saw that word in this book. That is such a highly, highly offensive word, and again, we're making Laurie to be a bad person. Okay, I get it. So she still uses this word that people, of course, don't even really use anymore. That is not only offensive to disabled people, particularly of intellectual disability, particularly people with Down syndrome, but it's also racist as hell. And it is a word. I'm kind of trembling with anger that word was actually in this book. Okay, it's just one word, but you know what? It is it is the one thing that I remember about this story. Okay, this is what I came away from this story, was that one word out of the thousands of words that was written in this book. That is the one thing that I'm remembering very vividly about this story, is that word was in this book. Again, it's a me thing, probably. I know a lot of people don't worry about carp like that, but as I kind of mentioned in Kelsey's Discord, we all bring our own things to stories, and we experience them in different ways. And I am just super sensitive to things like this, and I don't freaking like it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say anymore because I'm just kind of rambling at this point now, but like I said, there's some things I kind of jived with this story, and things I just didn't. I don't know. I didn't really find it very disturbing. I know a lot of people find this like super disturbing. There was some messed up stuff in it, but I don't know. It didn't really disturb me in that way, which is fine. Again, we all bring our own things to each story and experience them in different ways. But I don't know. I just feel like if you are in any way, just know that word is in there. I'm telling you, that is the most extreme thing about this book to me, is that word was used in it. Okay, let's move on because I'm a little mad right now. Okay, and then I decided to go ahead and finish out Pen by Andrew Neiderman. Okay, this story was a little disturbing, actually. And so this is the book club pick for Kelly over at Kelly Hucknall Bucks's. One of her picks for the From Hell Book Club, where we read vintage horror every month. And this is an oldie but a goodie. And this was something. This book was something else. I don't even really know how to talk about this one because it's very strange. And essentially we've got this, this family's husband and wife, and they got 2 kids, and the father is a doctor, and he, for reasons unknown, has created this sort of doll, really, and he's like an anatomical like representation of like a human body. So they're like, you can see like organ, like his skin is like transparent, so you can see like veins and organs and all that kind of stuff through him. He's like anatomically correct, you know what I mean. And the kids call him Pen after Pinocchio. It couldn't get creepier, right? So, so what we learn is this, how this weird doll is used in the family. How the kids get a little attached. Yeah. Yeah. And that's all I'm gonna say. Because really, you just need to read the book. Because it is an experience. It's an experience. And I don't want to deny you this experience. Go read the book, actually. Because I think it's worth a read. It's got weird content. Is it a spoiler? I'll put content warning in the bottom, in the description. Weird sex stuff. Okay, weird sex stuff. But I honestly had a pretty good time with this one. Yeah, I did. Even though it was flippin' weird. It was really strange and a little ill. I had a good old time with this one. So this one, yeah, I'm glad I read it. Anyway, moving on. Okay. So then I listened to an audiobook, and I finally listened to Moon of the Crusted Snow by Waubgeshig Rice. Waubgeshig Rice is an Anomaly author from Canada. He is from the Waubgeshig First Nations. I always find I want to mention that when we come to Indigenous authors. And I flipping loved this book. 5 stars. I thought this was amazing. And it's one I've been wanting to read for a while. And so you know what? I did it. I just finally did it. I saw Katrina talking about it over her channel. I said, you know what? I'm gonna do it. So yeah, I flippin' loved this one. So we start out where basically this takes place on a sort of small community, a native reserve, like I said, in Canada, kind of in the northern area. We know it's approaching winter. It's very snowy and atmospheric in that way. And our main character that we're following is a man named Evan, and he's kind of hunting there in the beginning. Preparing for winter, and he shoots a moose there in the beginning, and preparing and all that kind of good stuff. And so we meet his family. He's got a wife and 2 young children, and how he is introducing us to this community. It's a very small community, but they kind of take care of each other, kind of thing, and yeah, all that. I mean, it's just a small community in northern Canada. And so one day, when he gets home from his hunt, they find the satellite isn't working, so their TV and stuff isn't working. I'm like, well, it happens from time to time when you're kind of live in a remote area. The satellite goes out. Probably come up tomorrow, whatever. Like, okay, but then maybe the next day, oh, well, the cell phones aren't working either. I'm like, oh damn, that's weird. And then a day or 2 later, the power isn't working, and they've just kind of recently been hooked up to kind of hydroelectric power, through the government, whatever, hooked up to the power, where they used to use generators and all that kind of good stuff. I'm like, oh, now this is weird for all 3 to go out at the same time. And so, people are kind of starting like, what's going on here? And then the landline phones go out. I mean, everything starts going out, slowly but sure. And one by one kind of thing. As people are starting to freak out a little bit, And then all of a sudden they see this sort of snowmobile is coming up to the community. And they're like, oh God, what's going on here? And it's 2 young men from this tribe or from this community that are in the closest little city nearby. They're going to college. And they are basically have fled the city, and they're like, hell is broken loose. Same thing's happening there. Power, everything is out. People are getting really violent. Oh my gosh, right? And so they're like, oh hell, okay. So they start kind of thinking about how to sort of pull together to try to make it through, figure out what's going on. But they're really pretty cut off, and they, of course, with nothing working, they don't have access to information about what's going on. It's a little scary. And pretty soon this man comes up to the area. He's a white dude, and he's like, can I stay with you guys? Because I hell is broken loose? And basically the story goes from there. And I just loved this book. It is a very quiet, slow-moving story. I don't mean slow-moving in a bad way. It takes its time with building this dread and terror, because we know something bad's happening, right? Like we know like some shit has hit the fan, right? We know this, and by the end of the book, it's just I was blown away. I really was. I've just flippin' loved this book. I loved the writing here. It was really, the characters, oh my god, they just came to life on the page. I really loved it. The audiobook was fantastic. I was going to write down the narrator. I forgot to do that, but the man, I could tell, was also an Indigenous person, and he used, sort of inflection and accent, and it just added another layer to this story that really brought it to life for me. It's so good, you guys. It's just so good. It's so good. And so if you, like me, you've been kind of procrastinating on this one, you got to read it. You got to read it. It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, what's next? I read The Anomaly by Michael Rutger. Now this I also did on audiobook, and this one I read because Brandy over at the Booklectic had talked about it on a recent video, and I'd heard her talk about it like previously too, that she had a fun time with it. I think she recently did a reread. Was that right, Brandy? I think. And it's like, you know what, this had been on my list, so let me check this one out. So pulled up the audiobook, and this one was really fun. So if you like, sort of, I don't know, it's really kind of like an Indiana Jones type of story, mixed with, I don't even know what it would be mixed with, but like a National Treasure kind of story, but then you get some horror elements thrown into it. That's kind of the gist of this story. So we're following this team that they have like a YouTube channel where they investigate sort of not paranormal, but like long lost histories kind of thing, unexplained events, that kind of stuff. And so they are on their way to like the Grand Canyon area to find this long lost cave of this person. I don't remember who it was now. It's not really important. Lo and behold, they stumble on. So basically, we've got like the guy who's like the face of the show. He's the talker. And then there's like the camera crew, and there's a sound girl, and all the there's about maybe five or six characters. I can't remember now, but it's a little small crew, and they make their way to this, and lo and behold, like I said, they find the cave because of course they do. But of course they get a little bit more than they bargained for once they get in there, and things don't turn out all that well. There's some really good, interesting, I guess kind of body horror type imagery in here, because there's something in this cave basically that they discover, and maybe sort of awaken by their presence, we'll say. So honestly, it was just a lot of fun. This is a fun story. It's a lot of kind of, like I said, it feels like an Indiana Jones, maybe a little X-Files thrown in, because you're searching for something that's unexplained, and I don't know, it was just a fun time. So if you're looking just for something fun, you can't go wrong with this one. I had a really good time with it. Definitely recommend it. The audiobook was good. All right, what's next? The Garden of Earthly Bodies by Sally Oliver, another audiobook. This was a short one, so I squeezed this one in also. Okay, this one was really interesting, and I kind of liked it. So our main character is Marianne, and what we find about her is that she has a sister who had recently passed away. She died by suicide, and she's really struggling with that. She's struggling with the grief of, of course, losing her sister, who we find kind of through some backstory, had been sick a lot of her life with cancer. She got cancer as a kid and that kind of stuff. she's currently kind of with Marianne is with this man named Richard, and kind of a living together, and kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? A couple. So she's got this job where she's like a writer for a magazine, but that's not going very well. And she's just really, really depressed, honestly. Like she's sad. Yeah. And one day she finds this like really strange hair growing out of her back. It's like kind of longish, and it's like thick, and it's just weird, right? And so she goes to the doctor, and the doctor's like, let me refer you to this place. It'll be free of charge for you. It's like a retreat. You're dealing with all this depression. Let's send you away to this place called The Need. I think it's in Wales also. And so, she just had recently she got laid off from her job. And so she's struggling. She's like, what the hell? So she goes, and meanwhile, like more hairs are growing out of her back, like, kind of down the spine area. These long hairs are kind of growing out of her back. And so she's like, okay, fine. Let me just go. And so when she gets there are other people there that also have hairs growing out of their back. And so it's a thing, right? And so basically this story is us learning what this thing is. What is this facility really all about? And what some of these past events that happened in Marianne's life possibly have to do with what's going on in this present. And I really liked this. It doesn't have the best ratings on Goodreads, and I get it. Like, I feel like this definitely isn't a story for everyone. It is also a really sort of a slowly told story. A lot of our time is actually spent in a sort of past timeline where we're learning, where we're getting to know Marianne and her sister Mary and her family dynamic, which was kind of weird. Like, her mom was kind of weird. And again, what Mary's sickness, of her being sick as a child, what that kind of, how that stressed the family also, and how all that, kind of built to make Marianne who she was today. And at the end, of course, the sudden loss of Mary, as recently in her life. And I just liked learning all of this stuff in the past. And only thing I really wished we got a little bit more at the facility of The Need. We don't get a lot of time there, and by the time the ending rolls around, you're like, whoa here. Wow, I need a little bit more. I would have liked a little bit more about this facility and the purpose of it. But then I also like the kind of not knowing. I don't mind a good ambiguous ending, and so this kind of left you a little questioning. And so I kind of liked it. I don't like it. I wanted more, but also I'm like, okay, this is the story, So I liked this. I think it's just something like, if you are interested in it, you just got to give it a go and see if it jives with you. It's just that kind of story, what I mean? That kind of storytelling. But I kind of liked it. So it's, it was my kind of weird, I guess. Okay, so lastly, I finished The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Deesha Philyaw. This was really, really wonderful. Also, I did audiobook for this one, and it was fantastic. And this had been on my list for a little while too, and I'm purposefully trying to, I got that 20 book hashtag 20 books by 20 black women. That's run over by Melanated Reader on Instagram. So I'm like trying to be really purposeful in reading, black women authors this year, and so I pulled this one up. And this is really wonderful. It's told really through a lot of different stories. So it's really, I guess, more of a short story collection than anything else. But each story is sort of focusing on a different woman, a different black woman. And the thread really through a lot of these stories is, of course, family. A lot of family stories, a lot of grief. And the church, how important the church can be in a lot of their lives, and how that can be both a struggle, and something that brings comfort. How church is important to a lot of black women's lives, even if you're kind of a non-believer. a lot of queer stories in here, which I was a little surprised by. I didn't expect that, and that was really lovely. A lot of thoughts on sexuality in general, women's sexuality with women and men. Again, but really sort of family dynamic, family struggles, and yeah, I don't know. Hard to like explain. It's just a bunch of little stories about women, about different women, But it was really lovely, really wonderful, and I really loved it. How many times can I say really? I definitely would recommend it. It was very good. Phew, this is a long one. I do apologize, but that's it. That's all that I finished. So, what have I got in progress? I'm still reading Starved Cold. I've got, I think, just a couple more stories in this one. Looks like I've got 3 stories left, and I'll be finished with this one for the month. I'm just really having a great time with this, and yeah, so enjoying that. I did make a start on The Edible Woman by Margaret Atwood. I'm not very far. I'm up to chapter 8. And, so far, so I'm still kind of feeling this one out. We're just kind of meeting the main character and kind of going through her kind of day-to-day life and her job and her her roommate and her boyfriend. And just a story so far. So yeah, got that. And then I've got an audiobook on the go, of course. And that is Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. I'd had this one on hold through Libby for a while. My hold came in, you know how those holds come in when they want to. So I started that Friday. Got maybe about 60% or so. And I'm really liking this. So this is a YA horror story. I know I don't read a ton of YA stories. I'm not anti-YA necessarily, but I just don't read a ton of them. And I really wanted to read this one because it has a trans character, and so I just really wanted to. I heard such amazing things about it, and so, and yeah, I'm really liking this one. This is it's really kind of a post-apocalyptic type of story where a virus has gone through the country and all that kind of good stuff, and we've got a really strong presence of this like Christian evangelical group that is now active, sort of post-virus, and yeah. Like I said, we're following this trans character, and there's also an autistic character named Nick, and yeah, liking it so far. So more to come once finished. So that's what I've got in progress, and yeah, so this will finish out my month. I'll finish Hell Followed With Us, and then I hope to finish this, and that'll kind of round out my January. So I'll have had a really good month, I think. So I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to mention, I was gonna pull the book that I put a little feeler out in MJ over at Reading This Life for anyone that maybe wanted to buddy read Women Talking by Miriam Taves. And so if you want to join in with us, I'll leave MJ's channel below where you can find her Discord. If you're interested. I think MJ's gonna hop in. I think we had another person that was interested. I've been dying to read this book forever, and now they got the movie. It's coming out with Frances McDormand, who we love, and so like I said, I've been dying to read this one. So if you have been dying to read it too and want to join in with us sometime, it's just gonna be in February. Just take your time with it. Definitely come and join us. So. So with that, I think that's it. Sorry this is so long. But anyway, hope you're doing well. Let me know what you read this past week or this month so far. And thanks for watching as always. I appreciate your time. Until next time. Bye.